Welcome, one and all, to the latest episode of Signals from Mars. I'm your host, Victor. We have Nate joining us there for a second. We have Brad Dahl joining us. You do the tongue thing as well, or do we leave that just for our kids? Because my sons do that all the time as well.
Yeah, nobody wants to see my tongue. Sorry. Well, maybe Edgar. Edgar, how you doing, buddy?
You sure about that?
That's for Edgar.
So what we're doing here is we put together a list or had people submit their top 10 lists of albums they would present to people if they wanted to inform them on what a guitar god is, what a guitar shredder is.
Oh, wow. I
So
got to read my list now.
now you don't even remember your own list. So it's that for hard rock and metal. There's your list. All right.
Yeah, I had to leave a real important one out for me because it's not really hard rock and metal, but oh my gosh. We can mention that maybe later.
Well,
Maybe.
as Jerry Reed once sung, we've got a long way to go and we've got a short time to get there. So we've got there's a few things that are going to happen with this episode. So first off, I'm going to give you what the ultimate top 10 was, and we're going to talk about different things regarding those albums.
Nice.
Then, of course, there are albums that that happen to albums from an artist that appear on the list, two different albums. So
Okay.
we're going to talk about what it would have been like if all those votes would have gone to one album. Does that change
Oh, yeah.
top 10? And then finally, we're going to
That's interesting because when I did this, I started thinking, well, because I started by listing my favorite guitarist. Okay. Then I thought, well, I got to pick an album that I think best represents their playing as far as like, I want to, yeah, you're right. I want somebody to listen to this guy's guitar playing.
right.
And then I thought, well, okay, this band is probably going to be a band that a lot of people are going to pick an album from, but they're probably not going to pick the album I picked. So
Right.
what's going to, okay. This is very, very interesting. A lot of moving pieces here. Okay. Sorry, Victor.
So, and then third, we're going to talk about connections with how various artists intertwine with one another and what their ultimate influence is because of that. There's going to be some overlapping because there are members of bands that have been maybe in more than one of these bands. So I think this will be a cool discussion. So anyway, let's start off with the original top 10. Oh, and I forgot to turn this on.
Number 10.
Got to make sure that it's the right countdown here. All right, here we go.
Number 10.
There's no sound samples this time around. There was no time for that, so I apologize. But anyway, number 10. This album was released in 1996, was recorded between 95 96, was produced by the main person behind this album. This is actually an acoustic album.
What?
Yes.
How can this be hard rock and metal? Come on.
This is often described as this person's most personal album. He recorded it at his home while his main...
Isn't that what you say about an album that you did? You go, man, people aren't going to really like this, but so it's my most personal album.
So, okay. So it was done while he was on hiatus from his main job.
Okay.
The album represents a creative risk. His fan base expected crushing riffs and aggressive shredding. Instead, he delivered an acoustic songwriter record. Legend has it. Let's see. I lost my place.
I'm going Zakk Wylde for early entry. I'm hitting my buzzer. Zakk Wylde.
Legend has it. He was deeply influenced by his family life and the birth of his children during this period, which softened his approach. His boss, reportedly supportive of said person exploring a different direction. The album went gold despite minimal promotion and no real touring support in a traditional sense. A sequel was released in 2016, 20 years later, confirming the original status as a personal touchstone for Mr. So-and-so. Many fans considered his most honest and emotional exposed work and a stark contrast to his persona he has cultivated in his band. And you said?
Zakk Wylde.
At number 10.
Wow.
It is Zakk Wylde with Book of Shadows. So this was recorded mostly by Zakk himself. The only real single off of this is Between Heaven and Hell. The importance of this is that it showed a different side of Zakk, which obviously he continued with Black Label, and obviously he's done some softer stuff with Ozzy. Book of Shadows arrived during the mid-90s when the metal guitarist was largely out of fashion due to grunge dominance.
All right. I guess I got to listen to this now.
So, all right, cool. So that is our number 10. Yeah, the guy from Bon Jovi. Who, Richie Sambora? All right. Number 9.
Number 9.
Released in 1988, recorded in Sound Studios in Van Nuys, California. It was released and recorded in 88. The lead single received the most promotion.
As it should.
It got me to buy this album.
Ooh.
And this was a super group in my eyes. Let's see. And it's funny because the information that I put together is incorrect. I had to correct the AI agent I was using to help me cull information because they have the wrong lead singer. So let's see. So Myths and Legends, which is what I read for the Zakk Wylde stuff. Let's see if you can get it. Based on this person burst on the scene seemingly from nowhere, which led to significant buzz in the guitar magazine world of the late 1980s. His self-released EP in 1987 sold remarkably well, particularly in Japan, earning him a major label deal. The pairing with, I won't say the vocalist yet.
Huh, good.
The drummer was later credited to go on to bigger stardom in Mr. Big, gave the band serious credibility. His speed claims generated considerable debate in guitar circles. He was frequently compared to Yngwie Malmsteen, and the Who's Faster rivalry became a common topic in guitar magazines. The album's success in Japan was particularly notable, as Japan's market has ferocious appetite for virtuous guitarists. Chuck Wright, who was the bass player on the album, was known for his work with Quiet Riot, adding another layer of credibility. Despite commercial success, this band remained something of an underdog in the shred world, which earned him a loyal and passionate fan base. It made our
number 9.
All right. So, and it's funny because it's not mentioning that Phil Wolf played keyboards on this. I still remember that Phil Wolf played on. I have it on cassette still. I had it on CD at one point. I don't own it on CD anymore. The singer on this album, although it's listed as Rob Rock in my notes here, it was actually Graham Bonnet.
Oh,
The lead single
Oh.
was, and it is the title track,
Chris.
Stand in Line,
Would it be Chris?
Impellitteri. Chris
Mm.
Impellitteri. You were on your way. You
I
were
was
almost
on. I thought of him earlier in this, but I'm like, wait a second. I didn't know who the other people were that he was dealing with at the beginning.
Yeah.
When you
So
said
this was
the drummer,
this
Pat Torpey was
Pat
in
Torpey,
was in
yeah,
on this
yeah.
album.
So the original band on this album, so it was Chris Impellitteri guitars, Graham Bonnet vocals, Chuck Wright on bass, Pat
Wow.
Torpey on drums, and Phil Wolf on keyboards. I don't know who Phil Wolf was. He was wearing gloves as he was pointing to a keyboard. I remember in the picture on the inside of the album.
You got to protect these fingers as a keyboard player.
Yeah, there you go. And he probably had the most bodacious hair in the band, possibly a wig, who knows?
Wow.
But anyway,
I actually own this album.
it's a good album.
I'm only playing one song off of here right now on Yard Metal, and that's Secret Lover.
Secret Lover's a cool track. Stand in Line is cool. Tonight, I Fly, that's almost a given before I take any flight. Leviathan is another one that I love off of this. White and Perfect, which is about the English conquering South Africa. What else is on here? Over the Rainbow, which is a skipper for me. And
yeah, Since You've Been Gone.
You've Been Gone. I was thinking the second track was a big one too. But anyway, all right.
Been Gone, yeah.
So let's move on to
Number 8.
All right. This one is probably going to be easier for you to deduce the band anyway.
Wait a second. Did Edgar guess Impellitteri?
He did not.
Geez, Edgar, come on. Give it the program. Let's go.
Edgar's answer was.
Oh, well, that's a solid answer.
Solid answer.
At least it's a guitar player.
Well, all right.
Okay. Focused.
See, so I'm rewording this as we go so that I don't give so much away. But anyway, this was this band's first album with a new bass player. The album was produced by Harry Van Daw.
Harry Van Dong?
Yes, not Harold Ness.
That's that was my porn star name.
Not Harold Philip Ness. And also the older brother of two of the members of the band, who mentored or produced the band since their formation. Despite being reveled by musicians, the album was a relative commercial underperformer compared to what follows. Absolutely. The next album was monstrous. The next few albums were monstrous, which led Atlantic Records to push for more of a commercial accessible sound, resulting in the hiring of a pretty famous producer.
Okay.
The lyrics on the album are considered some of the singer's finest, drawn from his own personal experience with hard living. Many purists consider this their definitive album. And when we did a countdown on this band, I was surprised. I think this was number 2 or 3. So yeah, that makes sense. A lot of purists consider this the truest expression of what the band is about before commercial pressure altered their approach. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones once named it one of his favorite rock albums. This band subsequently opened up for the Rolling Stones years later. But this was released in 78. Had 2 singles, Down Payment Blues and Rock and Roll Damnation. Members of the band include Bon Scott, Angus Young, Malcolm Young, Cliff Williams, who debuted his first album with the band,
There you
and
go.
Phil
All
Rudd.
right.
This is
AC/DC. Shocking.
AC/DC Courage.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
So I think it's important to have an Angus Young album on here. I remember seeing them on tour in 96 for the Ball Breaker tour. And I remember my brother saying that it was ultra important for me to check out Angus's solo because it was going to be totally different from the shredding solos and other things that I was accustomed to listening to. And being that AC/DC is his favorite band, this was his way of saying Angus is my favorite guitarist.
Ah.
So,
All right, Art.
right. Next one.
Number 7.
All right. So, this band's lifestyle during this era, is stuff of rock legend. They lived in a near poverty and heavy substance abuse while recording, sometimes sleeping in the studio. The original album art cover featured a Robert Williams painting depicting a robot doing something in a too lewd of a fashion, became too controversial. So the album cover was changed, replaced with a now iconic skull and crossbones design featuring each band member's skull. The album was literally a commercial disappointment upon release, only breaking through after MTV began playing first song off of the album, allegedly because
Do you know where you are?
What's that?
Do you know where you are?
Yeah, there you go. Allegedly, David Geffen personally called the network. The Saul Hudson's intro riff to their second single was famously just a string skipping exercise he never intended as a song. Their former drummer has claimed that the drum tracks were recorded in a very short time because producer Mike Klink wanted raw live feel. The album took nearly a year to chart, but eventually reached number 1, staying on Billboard's 200 for over 5 years. And both you and Edgar know it. So yeah, recorded and released in 87, mainly in Rumbo Studios. The one thing that always catches me or always stands out to me with Appetite for Destruction, Slash in his book talks about how they tried so hard to capture lightning in a bottle twice. And they used the same amps, same guitars, same studio, and it just was not there for Use Your Illusion. So that goes to show, again, how lucky you are sometimes where you just can't plan something being that big. And this album taking that long to make it is not new to me, because I remember coming to Spain one year and saying the next big band is going to be Poison. And I had somebody saying, no way, that's never going to make it big, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. I come back the next year. This person's got his hair dyed blonde, got a big Poison patch on the back of his vest. Oh, and Brad dropped out there for a second.
Wow.
You're back. And what ended up happening was the next year he was like, I got it. You were so right. Poison is so big now. I'm like, forget about Poison. It's GNR. I'm like, you haven't you've heard this, but not with this veracity, not with this language, not with the way that they're storytelling on these tracks. This is the next big thing. And I let him borrow the cassette. And he's like, I don't get it.
Huh.
Next year I come back. He's all about GNR. So it happened. I mean, between 80, this was released in 87.
Yeah.
It became big in 88. It took almost a year for this album to take off. Slash has become one of the most iconic guitarists since. I mean, obviously, because of his, aesthetics on stage. And in this and in videos and whatnot. I will argue that is not the case, especially not in the 80s, Edgar, because I would say that a lot of bands from your country vacationed in Spain and copied from a lot of what was going on here in Spain.
Ooh.
I'll give you that, because a lot of the stuff that came out in the mid to late 80s from new wave bands that were looking for something different were doing a lot of the same stuff that the Spanish bands were doing years before. So those vacations to Ibiza paid off. All right.
You ever been to Ibiza?
I have not.
Me neither. We should
No.
go. Let's take Edgar and let's go.
Honestly, honestly, I have no desire to go there. I went to an onshore place that's similar, which is full of Brits and Germans, and that's enough.
Oh, yeah. Well, that sounds awful.
Anyway,
yeah, put your comments down here. Okay.
Number 6.
Number 6. All right. Next band. So the band's grueling 11-month tour almost destroyed the band. They were scheduled for 193 shows, leaving the band physically and mentally exhausted. The lead singer has described it as the tour that almost broke the band. The album was recorded at Compass Point Studios in the Bahamas, a legendary facility also used by AC/DC, Talking Heads, and Bob Marley. Do you know where this is going, Brad?
Well, I thought I did, but now I'm kind of wondering.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of who else recorded there, but keep going.
Okay. The theme of the album was influenced by the band's interest in ancient history, and the elaborate stage set of the tour featured a massive Egyptian pyramid.
Okay. Yeah.
Giant Eddie mummy. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was considered a risk by the label due to its 13-minute length, but Steve Harris insisted on keeping it unedited. Martin Birch, the producer, was known for his meticulous attention to guitar tones, and the album's production is often cited as Maiden's best.
I couldn't argue that.
Obviously, Power Slave. Huge album.
Yeah.
I mean, the influence is ridiculous on this. Came out in 84. Obviously, the singles were 2 Minutes to Midnight, Aces High, classic Maiden lineup. The importance was, this is the height of Adrian Smith and Dave Murray's dual guitars. This cemented them as one of the biggest bands at the time,
for sure,
and of all time when it comes to metal.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not think of them in the same as Shredders, and this is kind of what I said before with AC/DC with Angus. this is the cool factor about a lot of these albums that we're talking about, in that they don't have to be shreddy to be influential or important. So that's what I got to say about that.
Okay.
All right. Moving on.
Number 5.
All right. This album is forever shadowed by tragedy, as one of their members was killed on the tour supporting this album. The band was on tour supporting said album. This member died at the age of 24, marking an end to their classic lineup.
Sounds like Metallica, but keep going.
Yeah, legend has it that Burton won a choice of bunks on the bus that night through a card game with Kirk Hammett. Hammett had been sleeping in the bunk where Burton died. The album was recorded in Denmark, in part because producer Flemming Rasmussen was based there, and the band found the isolated environment conducive to focus. James Hetfield has spoken about how the title track was inspired by addiction, acting as a puppet master controlling people. Despite being one of the most successful metal albums ever, no official singles were ever released for it. The music spread almost entirely through word of mouth, radio play, and tape trading underground. So yeah, Master of Puppets. No official singles were released, but let's be honest. The title track, Battery, and even Welcome Home Sanitarium became staples, have been staples for the last 40 years on rock radio. So yeah, it was recorded at Sweet Silence Studios in Copenhagen, Denmark. The biggest metal album of all time. And let's be honest, the album is iconic. The album cover and Cliff dying has always left everyone with a what if with what they would have continued to do with, after he passed away. So, all right.
Number 4.
Whew. Okay. How do I circumvent this without you've been getting the last few. So let's see if you can get this one. The making of this album was seen as direct competition with the lead singer's old band. Both camps released albums in 1986, creating one of rock's most famous rivalries. Legend has it that the lead singer of this album specifically sought out musicians who could match or exceed his old band's musicianship.
I'm going Ozzy.
Awesome. The guitarist reportedly received a phone call from the band's manager and was initially skeptical about joining a party rock band. But the creative freedom and challenge of filling this other giant guitarist's shoes won him over. The bass player and guitarist's interplay on stage became legendary, and both pushed each other to absurd technical heights nightly.
Oh no.
The producer created a direct sonic link to
Now this is sounding more like David Lee Roth.
created a direct sonic link to the lead singer's former band's sound, adding to the rivalry narrative.
Yeah.
All right. So, released in 1986.
Yeah.
Recorded in Can-Am Studios in Tarzana, California. Recorded between late 85 and 86. 3 singles. And I will always remember, I can still recite, if I'm watching the lead off video, I can recite the whole intro to this, where the lead singer appears and says, "Give me a bottle of anything." What is it? Give me a bottle of anything and something to go. Man, I forget it. If I'm watching the video, I'll remember it.
And a powdered
A
donut.
glazed donut to go. That's
Glazed
it.
donut.
A bottle of anything and a glazed donut to go. Okay. Band members are David Lee Roth, Steve Vai, Billy Sheehan, Greg Bissonette, Brett Tuggle.
Who?
Yeah. Brett Tuggle, who's also in Zappa's band, I guess. But anyway.
Really? Well, all right.
Maybe
fact check that.
Correct. The producer was Ted Templeman.
Yes.
To me, this is the only album that any of them have done. Even Van Hagar, Van Sharon, even David Lee Roth after this, with Skyscraper and Your Filthy Little Mouth and A Little Ain't Enough and all the other albums. Nothing has come close to the first few Van Halen albums like this album did. Just Steve Vai, Billy Sheehan, and even Greg Bissonette. Greg Bissonette probably doesn't get enough credit for his playing, but he is a monster player who can still play his ass off in 2026, because you watch some of those Drumeo videos that he does where he's still playing this stuff, or he's still playing the Van Halen stuff note for note. And it's ridiculous how good he still is as a drummer. I love this album. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. This is one of the only albums that I own more than one copy on vinyl, and is one of the reasons why I have a Discogs account, to make sure that I don't own more copies of this album. So anytime I go into a record store and say, "Hey, do I own Eat 'em and Smile?" Oh, yes, I do. I own 2 copies. I own a picture disc and a regular copy. So cool.
There you go.
Let's move on to
Number 3.
Okay. So the lead guitarist was discovered by the lead singer of this band, which, much like David Lee Roth, the name of this band project was this lead singer's name. You're going to get the shirt off the bat.
Yeah.
So what's that?
I don't know. Keep going. Or, it could also be, it could also be somebody else had something to do with Sabbath. Keep going.
Okay. It could very well have something to do with Sabbath.
What the fuck am I talking about?
So anyway, Randy Rhoads was discovered by Ozzy when Rhoads was teaching guitar at his mother's music school, Musonia, in North Hollywood. Legend has it that Ozzy was so hungover during the audition that he fell asleep, but when he woke up, he immediately knew Rhoads was the one. The bass and drum parts were written primarily by Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake, who later sued over royalties and writing credits. The original vinyl pressing credited all 4 musicians as co-producers. Controversy erupted in 2002 when reissued versions replaced Daisley and Kerslake's performance with re-recorded parts by Robert Trujillo and Mike Borden. Outraged fans later reissues restored the originals. Rhoads' death and tragic death in 1982 when a tour bus driver took a small plane and buzzed the plane, clipping it, and crashed, elevated him to legendary, almost mythic status, forever associated with unfulfilled genius. So yeah, recorded in 80, released in 80, recorded at Ridge Farm Studios in Rusper, West Sussex, England. Let's see. Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, and Steal Away the Night were all singles, depending on where you were. Randy Rhoads, Bob Daisley, Lee Kerslake, and Don Airy on keyboards. The importance. I mean, I said it when we talked about Ozzy recently. For as much crap as he gets, he's always surrounded himself with great musicians. Had this have not happened, we would have never, not never, but the impact of Jakey Lee would have been different. The impact of Zakk Wylde would have been different. Or maybe Randy's alive and he quits the band, as was rumored by, for example, it says in Rudy Sarzo's book, he was going to do Speak of the Devil, and then he was gone. So who knows? Maybe we still get the same, we still get Jake and Zakk, and we get Randy off doing other stuff. I don't know. That's one that we'll never know. It's interesting, though, that how much death surrounds a lot of these bands. AC/DC, Malcolm is gone. Bon Scott's gone. Iron Maiden, Clive Burr and Paul Di'Anno, although they didn't play on this album. Cliff Burton on Master of Puppets. David Lee Roth, well, you've got his connections through Eddie Van Halen anyway. And Ozzy Osbourne, Ozzy, Randy Castillo, Lee Kerslake. He's had several people that have passed away that have played with him. All right. Number 2.
Number 2.
All right. So again, how is this not gonna? How are you not gonna get this right off the bat? This guitarist famously arrived in the United States.
Van Halen. Keep going.
In 1983, after a guitarist heard his demo tape and recruited him for a band.
Yngwie.
The legend goes that Yngwie was already so fully formed as a player by his late teens that American musicians were stunned at his ability. He was known for his supreme confidence bordering on arrogance, releasing the fucking fury, and reportedly clashing with bandmates over his insistence and being the dominant creative force. It's rising force, not creative force. Malmsteen has claimed that Jimi Hendrix playing on TV when Yngwie was 7 years old was the moment he decided to play guitar, but it was his precision of classical composers that shaped his style. His Fender Stratocaster with scalped fretboards became iconic, and he was known for going through enormous numbers of strings and guitars on tour. So the album is Rising Force. The year was 84, recorded Cherokee Studios, Los Angeles, California.
Okay, I have to show this picture here.
CEO Dave.
That's my brother, CEO Dave and Yngwie, back in, early 80s, real early 80s when Yngwie first came over. And they were buddies, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Crazy.
So the person that discovered him was Mike Varney. And the members of the band on this album were Jeff Scott Soto on select tracks, Jens Johansson on keyboards, Barrymore Barlow on drums, formerly of Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rising Force essentially created the neoclassical metal genre. It was nominated for a Grammy as Best Rock Instrumental Performance. Remarkable for a debut, the album inspired an entire generation of technical-minded guitarists, including Jason Becker, Marty Friedman, Tony McAlpine, and Vinnie Moore. It shifted the conversation in the guitar culture towards classical theory and technique and helped establish the Shrapnel Records roster of shred guitars has a serious movement. Without this album, the late 80s shred explosion would have looked very different. So the most influential guitar solo off of this album, Far Beyond the Sun, which is an extended instrumental. So there you go at number 2. All right, so let's recap 10 through 2. Number 10, Book of Shadows, Zakk Wylde. Number 9, Impellitteri, Stand in Line. Number 8, AC/DC, Powerage. Depends where you're from. Number 7, Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses. Number 6, Iron Maiden, Power Slave. Number 5, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Number 4, David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. Number 3, Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. Number 2, Yngwie J. Malmsteen's Rising Force. Number 1, what do you think it is, Brad?
Van Halen.
The album is famously recorded in just 3 weeks on a modest budget. Legend has it that Gene Simmons of Kiss funded an early Van Halen demo tape after seeing them play at a club, which helped them get noticed. Eddie's guitar tone on the album became the subject of endless speculation. The so-called Brown sound was achieved through a combination of a modified Marshall amp, a Variac voltage regulator, and a home-built Frankenstrat guitar. The recording of Eruption was reportedly just a guitar check warm-up that Ted Templeman decided to capture, though Eddie later said it was a deliberate performance based on a live solo he had been doing for years. Many guitarists in 1978 assumed the tapping sound in the studios were effects, unable to believe the guitars could produce those sounds unaided. Most important solo off the album is obviously Eruption. This album created the template for 1980s hard rock and hair metal. It provided the heavy guitar music could be fun, virtuistic, and commercially massive simultaneously. The album went diamond, 10 times platinum in the US, and launched 1,000 of imitators. Every shredder who followed, from Rat to Dokken to the entire Sunset Strip scene, owed a direct debt to this record. Eruption alone changed guitar pedagogy forever. Tapping went from obscure novelty to a fundamental technique overnight. Before the album, rock guitar had been dominated by blues-based vocabulary of Clapton, Page, and Hendrix. Eddie opened an entire new sonic frontier that combined speed, melody, harmonics, and tone in a way nobody had heard before. So the album was recorded in 1977, late 77, approximately 3 weeks, released in 78. Sunset Sound Recorders, Hollywood, California. Singles: You Really Got Me, which was a cover, Running with the Devil, Jamie's Crying, Ain't Talking About Love, obviously Eddie Van Halen, David Lee Roth, Michael Anthony, and Alex Van Halen. It is Van Halen. Any surprises on this list?
Yeah. I think the Zakk Wylde one was a big surprise because you wouldn't. Of course, I need to listen to it, but I wouldn't have thought of that as like, hey, this is what you need to listen to really, hear some incredible guitar playing.
Okay.
So that's a surprise. It's also a surprise to me and CEO Dave that Tony Iommi doesn't have a representation on here because of his incredible guitar history.
So let's do this. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
let's re-envision this top 10. Now we're going to combine albums by bands that had multiple albums that were voted for. And as a result, the outcome is different.
Okay.
Top 10 is different. Okay.
I do also have to say one more thing is that Iron Maiden, while that album is spectacular and they're both great guitar players, I wouldn't point that to somebody and say this is what you need to listen to really understand a great guitarist. Like the two guitar bands where the two lead guitarists kind of made it hard for me to like put that on this list.
Okay.
Because you know what I mean? I don't know. It just, and again, not taking away from those guys' guitar playing, but yeah, I don't put them, like if I'm going to make my great list of all-time favorite guitar players, they're probably not going to make the top 10, either one of them. I don't know. Who do you like better out of that, Dave Murray or Adrian Smith? I know you're probably going to pick Adrian because that's who I'd pick.
Absolutely. But outside of that, there's another discussion that we may have for another day with twin guitar albums.
I'm down for that. Okay, let's move on to the let's see if we compile. Well, the other thing is, I think one of my all-time favorite guitar players, and how can you have a top 10 list without his name? And there's Michael Schenker, but maybe he makes it if you compile all the, I don't know. But how can you not put Michael Schenker in a top 10 guitarist list? I mean, the dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, go on.
All right. So
I'm going to turn into Johan here and just like lose my mind. No, Michael Schenker. I don't know. That was not a Swedish accent. I apologize. All you Swedish people out there, love you. Oh, we got Yngwie on there just for the Swedish people.
All right. So with the combined list, at number 10, Stand in Line by Impellitteri. Automatically, Zakk Wylde is out of the top 10. Okay. Number 9, Black Sabbath. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to. Did you pick a Black Sabbath album in your top 10?
I did not actually.
Okay.
And that was hard for me because I think Iommi is one of the most important guitarists.
Oh yeah. He predates Eddie Van Halen, and Eddie Van Halen would tell you right now that he's one of the most influential guitar players ever. They were great friends, and Eddie actually is on a Black Sabbath album and co-wrote a song on there.
Evil Eye.
Yeah, Victor, you know everything.
all the stuff that doesn't matter, sure.
Oh, this matters. This clearly matters. Okay. Which Black Sabbath album was what got the most votes, though? I'm curious about that.
Technical Ecstasy got the highest votes.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, because
Mob Rules got voted on more, but it was voted lower by several people.
Yeah, I would just count the number of votes for the album, not the ranking.
So these are total points. So they're combined points with both albums.
Yeah, Mob Rules probably just for what's the last song on there? I feel like an idiot here.
Or Falling Off the Edge of the World.
Yes, that solo right there alone. If you're gonna like play one song to somebody and say this is the fury and passion of that solo and that is just it's insane. It really is. And it fits it. God, it fits it. Damn, I know. Where's Jeremy when you need him? Oh, wait, he's at a concert or something, right?
No, he's at a soccer tournament.
Oh, that's right. Damn you, Jeremy.
Okay. Number 8, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction.
Okay.
Number 7, Iron Maiden, Power Slave. Number 6, AC/DC, combining Powerage and Let There Be Rock.
Interesting that the early albums are the ones people were pointing at for the great guitar work. Okay, cool.
Number 5, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Number 4, David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. But Yngwie drops to number 3. Ozzy jumps to number 2
This is starting to sound like my list.
with a combination of Blizzard and Diary of a Madman.
Oh, okay.
Number 1 is still Van Halen, though. So the Ozzy rises from 3 to 2. AC/DC climbs from 8 to 6. Sabbath enters the top 10 at number 9. And then Zach drops out of the top 10. Okay, so now part 3 of this discussion. Now we're going to combine universes, per se. All right? So we're going to combine. This is based on combined albums that are intertwined with one another, where we have guitarists or members of the bands that maybe have played with other bands that are within the 50 albums that were voted on. Okay?
Okay.
So there's 6 that we're going to talk about. The first one is the Iron Maiden connection between Iron Maiden and Richie Kotzen, because we have Smith Kotzen. Richie Kotzen had an album that was voted for on this list.
Richie Kotzen's an incredible guitar player.
So when we have these family trees here, the Iron Maiden, the Maiden universe, barely makes 6th. Okay, we're just talking about 6 groups here. The 5th combination here is the Shanker connection between UFO and Scorpions.
Okay.
So the Shanker brothers representing 2 pillars of German hard rock. All right. Combo number 4. This was out there. So it is the GNR connection. Because of
Gilby Clark?
Roses. Who did you say?
Gilby Clark.
No.
Sorry, Gilby.
Buckethead.
Mother Buckethead.
See that?
I get it. I get where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The Graham Bonnet connection.
Oh, wow.
Is number 3. Okay, are you ready?
Ready. There's a Richie Blackmore thing in there. Keep going.
Okay. Rainbow.
Sorry.
Impellitteri. Steve Vai is on this list.
Oh, yeah.
Several people voted for Fire Garden, but Steve Vai was also in Alcatraz.
Yep.
With Graham Bonnet. And Yngwie Malmsteen was in Alcatraz with Graham Bonnet. So that is the number 3 connection.
Wow. Let's see. Fire Garden.
Number 2.
Wait a second. Show and tell time. Steve Vai, artist, backstage pass here for the Fire Garden tour.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. All access on stage, the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
People tried to kill me for this after the show.
Wow.
Like, that's no, awesome. I'm not going to. Can I have that? No, you can't.
Yeah, come on. All right. Next.
Okay.
Number 2. The Van Halen connection.
Ooh.
So, Steve Vai with Fire Garden.
Yep.
Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien, made the one of the 50 albums voted.
As it should.
That was a tough one for me as well, because that's probably the only Satriani album that I really, really like, where there's multiple songs off of it that I'll play.
Yeah, he hit the sweet spot with that one.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he didn't wait to do that on his 20th album. He probably wouldn't have got to the 20.
So after that, and obviously Satriani's connection to Sammy Hagar and Chickenfoot. Next, you have David Lee Roth with Eat 'Em and Smile. And obviously you have Van Halen with Van Halen. Now, kicking everyone's ass. This will make you happy.
Ooh.
The Sabbath Universe.
Mm.
So, bear with me, because some of these are loose connections. But you have Suicidal Tendencies, because Robert Trujillo was in Suicidal Tendencies.
Yes.
You have Holy Diver by Dio, was voted on. You have Rainbow Rising with the Dio connection. You have Night Ranger with Dawn Patrol with the Brad Gillis connection to Ozzy.
Oh, wow.
Mob Rules, which we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Diary of a Madman. Technical Ecstasy. Fire Garden, because Steve Vai played on Osmosis.
Yes, he did. Did a whole album, actually. That's the only song that has ever been released. Yeah, when did they ever release that stuff? Come on.
Lawyers. But it's so dumb that all these years later that lawyers and labels couldn't agree.
Yeah, I'm sure Steve wouldn't have a problem with it, but anyway.
Zakk Wylde's Book of Shadows.
Okay.
Master of Puppets, once again, Robert Trujillo, bass player in Metallica, although he didn't play on that album. But there's the Metallica connection there.
Connection, yeah.
Also, Metallica did open up for Ozzy, if we want to go that route also. And Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
So I think that at least this concept gives us more fuel for the future, because as we're seeing, it's hard to decide which album do you choose from somebody's catalog.
It's tough. It's really tough. That's the struggle I had. I'm like, how if I'm going to pick one album with this guitar player that I want somebody to hear? Yeah, it was tough.
Why did Van Halen's first album, why was it number one? Because everyone who voted for Van Halen voted for that album.
It's because it's the groundbreaking album. I mean, it was the one. I mean, everything that came after that was, built on that. Right. It's not like all of a sudden Eddie discovered something in the fourth album. Right. Not that he wasn't expanding his playing or whatever, but there wasn't like all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, he's taken it to another level.
Yeah.
I mean, just the earth-shattering performances on that first album. I got to see, I saw him on, where they're warming up for Black Sabbath on first album tour. And the thing that amazed me about him was, unlike, I'm sure there are other guitarists that did this kind of thing, but for him, just the stuff he was doing in between the riffs. I mean, it's just, he was just kind of stuff. And the fact that it all fit.
Yeah.
And it was effortless. The just watching him play was just it was amazing. It was just flat out. I'm like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. And that's the way that album is. You've never heard anything like this before.
And that's missing. Randy Rhoads was like that too. Like I can listen to Randy Rhoads' live album, both of the two that were officially released, and just hearing the notes that he adds that weren't in the studio album. It's like, oh my God, it always gives me goosebumps. You
Yep.
know, just hearing him just ad lib some of the stuff, and
Yep.
even the Sabbath stuff that he plays on. Yeah, I know it isn't the exact same playing as Iommi, but he adds his own thing to it that makes me want to listen to that. Hell, even Brad Gillis. I think Brad Gillis on Speak of the Devil, he's faithful to the original tracks, but at the same time, he's also doing his thing. Like, I think his solo for Paranoid is groundbreaking and is ridiculous because that's the first time that I think anyone did those. In Spanish it's translated as gargles that he's doing on the yeah on
where he's hitting the whammy bar there.
yeah
But he, you know, Brad Gillis is still an incredible guitar player.
yeah
He still just kills it. You're right, Victor. You're right about all this stuff, man. But that first Ozzy, the first Randy Rhoads. I mean, I thought, well, of the two, which one has more like, oh wow, guitar playing on it? I still had to go with the first one just because of the same thing. It's like it was the first statement, and the second album did build off of that. But it's kind of like, how do you throw the second album out there first? Say, listen to this, and then, oh yeah, if you thought that was great, go back and listen to the first album. You can't. It's just like going backwards with Eddie Van Halen. I don't think it's fair to do that either.
yeah
That'd actually be really weird, man. If you could go to a different universe, and let's say you've never heard Van Halen, but yet we're going to start off with the Balance record. Okay, that's the first thing we're going to hear. That's the first thing we're going to hear of Eddie Van Halen.
So,
would it have the same impact?
But that's some kid in the 90s, like how some kid picked up, Hot in the Shade or Crazy Nights from Kiss as being his first, intro to Kiss, and they got hooked on it. And then they went back and listened to Dress to Kill and Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over. And then all of a sudden said, what the hell is this? This has nothing to do with, and to your point, I mean, I heard Fair Warning first before anything. But I'd heard Running with the Devil. I heard Fair Warning first, then Women and Children first. And then I was lucky enough that the guitarist of my band worked at a supermarket, worked at ShopRite, and he was buying Van Halen and Kiss and Def Leppard albums. And he was transferring them onto cassette. And during our lunch breaks, we were listening to all this stuff. And we would have these little shitty speakers sitting on the bleachers. And he would say, wait. You know the original Calling Dr. Love, but just wait till you hear the studio track. Listen to what Gene is doing in the chorus instead of what, he's doing live, and hearing that stuff for the first time. But to your point, Fair Warning or Van Halen 2 are probably my favorite Van Halen albums. It's one of the other. Okay.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you're saying, the impact of Van Halen 1, the impact of Eruption, of hearing that stuff, of having an old 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit that only had one speaker. And as a result,
it was the Eddie side.
You only heard one side of the damn album because one side was Eddie. The other, I think one side was Eddie and Dave, and the other side was Michael Anthony and Alex. So you got one or the other. And I rushed out and I ended up finding, two speakers that were laying around the house and connected them and made sure that I could hear the whole track, because wow, that was a disappointment coming home one day and saying, what's wrong? What's wrong with my tape? Why? And then I realized when I got home, got on my stereo and panned to the left, panned to the right, I'm like, oh, damn. So that's what happened. So I had to listen to Lock Up the Wolves instead.
Underrated album, by the way.
Underrated, but not quite the same thing.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, if you're Hey, you've never heard Ronnie James Dio. We're going to start with Lock Up the Wolves.
Lock Up the Wolves. And that's what happened to me. So that's what happened to me. That was the first Dio album I could afford.
No way. No way.
So it was the first thing. I was like, wow, it's a 17-year-old kid playing. He's my age. Wow, I could make it. I could be a drummer in Dio's band. Holy crap. No, I can't. But anyway, I'm like, wow, Hey Angel is such a cool song. And hey, every mixtape that I make for a girl in the next year is going to have Hey Angel on it. And then all of a sudden you hear the entire Holy Diver album and you're like, what happened to this? So underrated album, but not Holy Diver. Anyway, on that note, Brad, I want to thank you. I want to thank Edgar for chiming in the chat as well. Anyone else that is watching or listening to this, whether it's the replay or whether you're here live and just haven't pronounced yourself, thank you so much for watching this live stream. It's always fun to catch up with Brad and talk about music and talk about the soundtrack of our lives. These are all monumental albums. These are all great albums. If you haven't heard of any of them or haven't had a chance to listen to them in a long time, please check it out. Please check these albums out. They're definitely worth it. And it's why we do these types of countdowns. It's to refresh ourselves, remind ourselves how important some of these albums are, how much music impacts our lives through good times, through bad times. When things suck, when you're going through a hardship, a lot of times there's that album, there's that song, there's that solo, there's that friend that you talk about in music. Where you forget about what's going on in your lives. And if we can do that for a few minutes for this hour and change that we've done tonight, and it's helped you out, if it's helped you get through a crappy work day, if it's made you listen to any of these albums or any of these bands, my job is done, folks.
Awesome.
On that note, thanks again.
Yes. One parting shot, okay? Name this guitar player that you just talked about.
Rowan Robertson.
There he is. Rowan. Yeah, nice guy.
Awesome.
Nice guy. Great guitar player. Still a great guitar player.
Still a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Excellent. On that note, we will wrap things up here. See you guys. We'll see you next time right here on Signals from Mars.
Thank you for watching the Signals from Mars live stream. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, or check out replays on YouTube. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information. This concludes our show.